Is it depends on the circumstances, but generally no. There are circumstances where we go underground that we try to avoid it. You know, well, in subdivisions and stuff, sure, but not.
They're behind the passenger seat.
Cost quite a bit more.
There's 18 of them in there, 18 eggs.
They're in the area. Okay, good for them. Hi, Sandra. Hey, I got the text the other day, but I didn't know if that you were sending that to me or the general group. It's 10 o'clock's fine with me. Okay, so you're waiting on that. Oh, really? Anyway. Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did. Makes sense. That's what he was doing before. Okay, here or somewhere else? No, it's into it, yeah, okay. Okay, well, there goes another spot.
Has anyone heard from Tim or, well, I've heard from John. I know John was planning on being here.
No.
No.
Okay. Have they hired anybody? Then they close, okay.
Here he is.
Yeah. Okay, John. Last Thursday. Okay, all right. Okay. Well, anyway, 10 o'clock. I just need if that works.
John, you haven't, John, you haven't talked to Tim, have you? Okay, just,
We got a quorum now, so.
we do.
All right. We've got a quorum. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. One of you want to call roll call?
John Manson,
Here.
Mike Burke,
Here.
Sandra Gerlach,
Here.
Tim Kameyer, Tom Stewart,
Yes.
Monica McHugh,
Here.
and Emerita Keys.
Did everybody get a chance to review the previous meeting minutes? Did anybody find any corrections or changes that needed to be made? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. So. It started, and then, we have Rollins here.
I'm I'm the one that made the application for that, the zoning
Oh,
department did. This is a, kind of a part two. Let me get to the map on that for you. So if you'll recall back in, I believe,
Yes.
November, well, first of all, a little bit of history for those that might want to hear this. We had, Ryan came in for a zoning permit to, regarding adding an addition to the back of one of his buildings on this parcel right here. And I took a look at it, and the zoning at the time, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll turn on this county zoning layer now. We've since rezoned that. That was what you guys, action you guys
Yes,
took on
okay.
that, late last year. And it was right after we sent out the notices, and it was too late to go back. But then it's like, oh, are you kidding? This little snit of a parcel that sits to the front
Yes.
is owned by Ryan. So that was one of those, so I can go through the whole packet of information if you guys want and kind of refresh you guys, but
No, I remember which one this one is now that we just, because we did want to add this on to
Yeah.
it. Does anybody?
Well,
committee?
I wasn't here for that meeting. Just
Sure.
quickly, where is this again?
this is not north of Bellevue. It's
Yeah.
just before you pull into Spruce Creek Park, pretty
Right.
much. So here's where you go into, well, here's where you go into Spruce Creek Park.
Right,
And then this is just across the railroad tracks.
yeah.
So, yeah, so this is all Dressler's subdivision up here.
Right.
AKA Spruce Creek area. So this is just a little piece that he owns outright in his own name, and it didn't catch it because this part's on contract with Stephen Pegg.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, so he didn't fit the A1 zoning. And it goes back decades, and I found other zoning permits that were issued by previous zoning administrators under that A1 zoning. So there was opportunities for that error to have been caught in the past, and it wasn't. So I felt it was our responsibility to make it right.
Okay,
And we didn't have time to add that little, what is it? How, it's less than an acre. It's like how many feet or something?
Hang on here, I'll get to
Three
that.
plants or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's small, and I have it in my notes in my packet, but I'll just do it this way.
It's 49 pages of information.
Yeah.
0.23, so a quarter of an acre. Of taxable acres.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in order to, because that's the driveway that he comes into the property. And since it doesn't fit as A1 anymore, he's got his business there, and behind it is all ag.
okay,
And so we approved the rezoning on that piece and just want to put that small chunk with it. So,
okay, just cleaning this up.
yeah, just cleaning it up.
All right.
So,
Yeah, and
We approved that with no conditions, right?
that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, yeah. So,
can I have a motion to?
do you need to, you don't need to open up for public meeting or public.
Yeah, yeah, we should. If there's any comment for that, I don't think there would be, but if there is any comment.
Okay, so you might have, I don't know if you have anyone here with a comment. No, for those of y'all that are on Zoom, I believe we have 2 people on a Zoom call. Can y'all hear me? And you'll probably have to unmute yourself, or I can do it for you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and that's a Mary Ann, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, And Mr. Glass, can you hear me? You can wave because I can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, you're good? Okay. Hang on, he might have something to say. Let me. Mr. Glass, can you unmute yourself? I'm not able to unmute you. Can you look at your screen and see if you can unmute? Not yet.
There,
Yes.
how's
sir.
that?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any
Hey, I
concerns
don't know.
about this?
Yeah, I don't really, I don't understand what you're doing here. I got a letter from you guys
Yes,
that you
sir.
want to rezone that strip of property down 304th Street.
Okay,
or,
we're not on that one right now. sir.
95th to 400th Avenue.
Okay, we're not on that case yet. We're on the, we skipped to the Ryan Rolling case first, since there's gonna be less opposition to that. So there's,
Yeah.
to move the meeting along. So we're looking at Ryan Rollins right now.
Yeah,
So did you have any questions or concerns about that?
no,
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna throw you back on mute and Mary Ann's on mute and I'll let the board go. And then when we're doing questions or when when they ask for public input. And also I might answer some of your questions during my introduction of that, okay? So I might get to
Okay.
some questions. All right.
Okay. So
Okay.
can I have if there's no other comment, can I have a motion on adding this 2.23 acres to the other parcel as an M1, correct?
M2.
Or M2?
Yep.
I'll make the motion to do that
Can I have a second?
with no condition.
Second. I wasn't here the last time.
I'll second.
Okay, Sandra.
Don't feel
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Doing
All right.
that because I wasn't here. not there.
Okay, no problem. And Tom, if you're more comfortable, I mean, I can go through the package.
No,
Okay.
no, I understand it, but I just, I wasn't here for the original, so I didn't want to vote for second.
Well, only if Monica wants me to go through the package.
No, that's okay.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please
no,
do not.
it's
I
fine.
understand
It's
it
fine.
quite well.
Okay.
It's fine. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, let's move on to, the ZC 2304. And if you could take us through that.
Yeah. I have to pull through the last month meetings here, minutes real quick. Okay. So we received application from WHKS, which is a engineering / surveying company that was obtained by Justin Aldean, who's the owner of Muddy River Properties. So they are looking to do a 6-lot subdivision off 304th, and I can go to a map here in a little bit. 304th, 400th Avenue, that area. They're looking at doing a 6-unit subdivision, and the current zoning in that is R1. So it's zone R1. And so that's that information. This right here, which was part of your packet, was something that I submitted to the surveyor, just to help get him on track to know what we were needing for this. And just so you know, the LMNOP part of this is, well, yeah, that part of it is part of the construction phase. And I'll get into that as I'm getting through it, but just like in last month, this is what the engineer is asking that we waive until final plat. So this is just another piece of paperwork for the surveyor. Let me get to I'll go to the staff report and then we'll come back to this. So, right now, this is a request for a preliminary approval of a subdivision application to create 6 lots of a major subdivision to be known as Alden subdivision. Right now, it's used as minimal use agricultural land. It is zoned R1. So the proposed use is to create 6 lots ranging from 2,817 gross square feet to 43,000, excuse me, I think I said it wrong, 21,817 gross feet, up to 43,895 gross square feet. For the R1 bulk zoning regulation minimums, it meets the minimums. The lots will meet the minimum of 20,000 square feet. It has allowed for the front setback to be 30 feet. The side setbacks to the lot lines to be 10 feet. And corner lot, so the one that's on 304th and 395th, with a 25-foot side setback and the rear setback of 35 feet from the rear property line. And no structure taller than 35 feet can be built in R1 zoning. So they're not needing a zoning change, or there's no zoning request since it meets the minimum bulk regulations for the R1. So surrounding this property, north, south, east, and west is all res use. The zoning of the properties, north, south, east, west, immediate, are all zone R1. So currently the site is 6.1 acres. It's located in Tatum Works Township.
0.6.
3.61 or 6.
Yeah, 3.61. It's my mouth gets going and my brain doesn't click, or vice versa. So 3.61 net acres located in Tatum Works Township. It's on the east side of 395th Avenue, the west side of 400th Avenue, and south of 304th Street. If you want me to go to a map right now to visualize that, I'd be more than happy to. Yes, no?
Why don't you go to the map real quick? I think I'm real sure I know where this is.
Okay, this is also right there south of Dressler subdivision,
Right.
right going into Spruce Creek Park. There's
Right.
the marina.
Right.
Okay, so the lot in question is this parcel right here, 3.61 acres that they're proposing to put 6 lots on. So it's south of 304th Street,
Right.
it's west of 400th Avenue, and it's east of 395th Avenue.
Mhm.
I'll go back to the zoning packet. So, I used the review for the preliminary subdivision plat. So those are all found in the 6-1-21 of the general standards. So one of the questions that we had to check against were the plats consistent with the provisions of this and other Jackson County land use ordinances, including zoning and floodplain management ordinances, and with the land use policy statement. So it meets standards and is not within a floodplain. And I'll have the land use chart at the bottom for compliance, and it does meet those standards for Jackson County land use. The area platted shall be suitable for the proposed development, particularly regarding topographic and apparent subsurface conditions and to the availability of utility services. It's anticipated that city water will be available for this subdivision sometime later this year in 2023. Since there will be city water to service these lots, there won't be the concerns with distance between wells and septic systems on these particular lots. There are some topographical challenges on the last 2 lots to the east, lot 5 and 6. You can kind of see that on the subdivision plat that you guys have. You can see how the topographical lines are wide at the ones going to the west, and they get a lot closer together the closer east that you get.
This is what we got here on the table. too?
Yes, sir. Yep. And so, so it's the last 2 lots, lots 5 and 6. Although these lots are the lots with these type of slopes are favorable and highly desirable for the building of homes with side and rear walkouts. Anticipated effect of the subdivision on nearby property values shall not be significantly negative. And we can see no anticipated negative value impact to nearby properties. Number 4, the proposed development will not place an undue burden on the public road system or other public services. There's no foreseen burden or excessive traffic on 395th or 304th Street due to this subdivision. Considering that 395th Avenue is a paved county road, the volume of traffic that would be added by 6 additional single-family dwelling or single-family homes on 304th Street is not an issue. 304th Street is not considered to be part of the public road system since it's a private road. And 400th Avenue should not see any issues or undue burden to this new subdivision, basically because there's no real access to it, 400 to the south. Proposed development shall preserve or enhance. Can I skip one? Yeah. Okay. So sound engineering and planning practices shall be used in developing the plat and its features. So WHKS and Company, a professional and licensed land surveying company, was hired by the developer. WHKS and Company is working with Jackson County Zoning and the Jackson County Engineer's Office to ensure county standards are being met. Number 6, the proposed development shall preserve or enhance significant natural assets such as scenic vistas, historic sites, woodland streams and river corridors, and highly productive agricultural land. Our findings was that the proposed subdivision will feature 6 lots. These lots are in an area that has high residential use. The proposed site does not contain highly productive farmland. Contact was made by Jackson County Zoning Department to the State Archaeological Office regarding historical sites. Since there are no known burial grounds or historical sites of significance in the area, the State Archaeological Office deemed an archaeological study was not required. The proposed development, number 7, the proposed development shall be an overall public interest. This proposed subdivision within a quarter mile of the Bellevue city limits, the due proximity to the river and the bluffs surrounding Bellevue, there is a limited area left to develop within the city limits. This subdivision should help with the growing needs of the community for additional housing sites. And this was the land, this was the chart we talked about earlier up in number 1. So does this accommodate anticipated growth by providing optimum locations for residential, commercial, industrial, public and semi-public lands for use? And I would say, yes, it does and most specifically the residential aspect, since it is highly residential in that area already. Does it encourage future growth and development to occur in a compact and orderly manner? Yes, it does. It is utilizing the ground that's already surrounded by residential area. Does it protect natural resources from incompatible uses or other uses and make future utilization difficult or impossible? It's already in a residential area, and that would be the most logical way of growth. Does it encourage urban development to take place near cities or towns where municipal facilities such as sewers and water are or will become ultimately available? In this case, yes. It will be available. It will be on public water after that's installed. And from my understanding from the health department, she will not issue any private wells out here. And then too, since there is septics, which is out there, these size lots, considering it will have public water, won't be a significant impact with trying to get both on there. Future development should be coordinated with existing and proposed transportation systems. While 395th Avenue is a paved road, county road that's right adjacent to this, which connects to Highway 52. Are the floodplains must be protected from encroachment? This is not in a floodplain or close. See, natural beauty and historic treasures of the county should be conserved and enhanced for the benefit of the population of Jackson County and the entire region. This is already a highly developed area, and as far as historical treasures, this wasn't deemed to be a high risk property for that. The land use plan must have significant flexibility to permit private enterprise to operate freely in an open market. I think we're hitting that benchmark too. Accommodate existing development without encouraging its continued growth in inappropriate areas. Like I mentioned before, it is a highly residential area. And then after basically this area is developed, that won't have any, basically there's no more development in that general area to be developed. Number 10 is a moot point with this. Encourage home-based enterprise, which does not conflict with neighboring uses. This is not to encourage home-based enterprise. So basically, the proposed subdivision does fit growth patterns of the area. The proposal is consistent with the county land use policy and meets the standards for review for applying the subdivision. In accordance with zoning regulations, notice of the public hearing was published in local newspapers and mailed to owners of property within 500 feet. A list of property owners and maps of the parcels within 500 feet are attached to this packet. And then the staff recommends that the zoning commission review the standards for preliminary requirements per 6-21-1 and 6-21, or excuse me, 6-122 and 2 in the Jackson County subdivision listed above for consideration of rezoning applications. The commission should then vote to recommend approval with conditions, deny the request based on those standards, or deny the request based on those standards. Suggested motions would be to recommend approval of the preliminary plat of survey as presented based on the commission's determination that all standards have been met without conditions or with the following conditions, and list the specific conditions for the record. A motion to recommend the preliminary plat of survey as presented based on the commission's determination that the following standards have not been met, list the specific standards for the record. Okay, and that's the list of the neighbors that were sent notices. I believe we had 72, at least 70, maybe 72. I didn't keep the grids on the spreadsheet. And the notices were sent to all of the neighbors within this highlighted area. And truthfully, there was probably a few neighbors outside of that because we sent, so when we did Ryan Rollins, which was right across the street, so we didn't mess anything up. Everybody, even Ryan's got the same notice that might not have. So we did send them to all those people. This is the overall view of the area, like I showed you on the map. This is the zoning map for this area. Everything in yellow is, let me make sure I got it. Yeah, everything in yellow is R1. That is R1 zoning. You can see Rollins across the street is different color for that big parcel. This down here, that's going to be offshore.
Yeah.
And that's
What now? I'm sorry.
offshore. Hang
Oh,
on, let me,
right.
and let me just go to this map real fast. I'm going to do it out here. How far did I go? Oops, I went too far. I apologize. Okay, so that's that green blob that we saw before. That's Bellevue Sand and Gravel. That's an M2 zoning. And all this red, that's the basically offshore development. And you can see that there. So I just wanted to show that this area is primarily R1, except for the sprinkle of commercial and M1, or excuse me, yeah, commercial and M1 M2 zoning in the area. So we have that. Let's get back to the packet. And this, do you want me to go into this right now, Monica, or do you want me to? Because this is basically the easement
Yeah.
agreement that the Dresslers went into with the Schultes, and just skipping to the bottom of it, it brings, the legal description brings in 304th Street. That is a private
Private road.
road. And so basically, this agreement shall be considered an easement running with the land and shall ensure that the benefit of the grantors, their heirs, successors, and assigns, as well as to the benefit of the grantees, their heirs, successors, and assigns.
Mhm.
So kind of a perpetual easement on 304th for the property owners that, and just a little bit of history, the Schultes is who this was, this went to originally, and the Schultes are the ones that sold to Muddy River, the Aldens. This right here is paperwork from Iris or ECIA type. This is where they're talking about the water that will be going to that subdivision. And the following is their detailed engineering designs for that, which I'm gonna skip through. So that is the packet for that. I did go ahead and in front of you guys, I did present, and I'm gonna try to get to that real quick. I have a letter from the county engineer that he's been in communication with the engineers from WHKS and addressing some of his concerns. There are concerns with the drainage, which he is right now, we're not looking at the engineering part of it. And so that's part of what we talked about last time. We're gonna have to redo that, our subdivision ordinance, to get the stuff that's not preliminary out of the preliminary plat.
Right.
So this is all that his concerns would be addressed, not now, but before a final plat.
Right.
And part of what his concerns, I can kind of paraphrase some of that, is that there is concerns about the 8-inch tube that runs from those lots. And you can see it on the plat that you guys have in your packet. Let me just get to it and I'll pull it up on here too. I'll just pull it on here. This, I'm gonna zoom in too, so we can get just a little bit of sand. Anyway, right here is a drainage tube that runs under 304. And does it say? It's a 6-inch pipe. And then this is an 8-inch tube that runs underground to the river. The concerns of the engineer is that 8-inch tube is not big enough to accommodate the flow. And on the last page of that email that he sent, he is questioning the calculations of post versus pre-development. Because pre-development, the post-development calculations for the drainage is less than the pre. So he's questioning some of that.
I guess I would be too, because right now it's grass
And
and
I,
it will soak in better. And then when you start building on it, you're not gonna have as much there.
right, and the estimation, I think, is 5,000 square feet of impermeable space on each lot. The one thing I know, like I was in our engineer's office when he was talking to one of the guys from I can't remember the name of the thing without,
WHKS.
thank you. It's like too many letters. I know, right? Yeah, WHKS. So I was actually in Jaden's office when he did have a conversation, and I think some of the calcs were based off row crop.
Mhm.
And the row crop, well, it's a row and it drains downhill. So, you know, you have that channel created. So that is why they're thinking, but they were gonna resubmit that. And it would have to be approved before the final plat could be signed off on. But yes, so there's concerns that they want addressed. And we're still, the county engineer is talking, they're within their office. Right now, the typical width of 304th Street is 22 feet wide. And okay, we have a subdivision north with 50, 60 lots in there already, which uses that 304th Street. But if you read our standards, if we were to be having a new road put in, anything that's servicing, I think it was, oh, I don't even have it in front of me anymore. A certain number of lots, which this exceeds what's already in Dressler. If we were putting in a new subdivision, anything, I think it was 15 or 30. I'd have to look. But anyway, they're trying to decide if there's actually a need to widen that for the 6 additional lots.
Well, this whole, the Dressler subdivision on the other side, a lot of those are non-conforming already because they were grandfathered in, because they were done before the zoning came in.
Right.
And the only thing that I have to say is that, it's a private road. I don't think the city of Bellevue would want to take it over.
No, and county isn't
And the
going.
county isn't going to either. So it would really kind of be up to the residents on that for the road, since it is private. I don't know, thoughts, I would, personally, I would like to see it wider, but we can't really request that since it is a private road.
Okay.
Yeah, and that
You know,
would be my take.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're looking into that to see if they think it is an issue or anything that
Right.
our ordinance, like you said, is private.
Yeah, and so it wouldn't be covered necessarily under anything that this board can do.
Okay. But unless the engineer's office, unless their standards are saying, yeah, we really got to, you guys would support their standards.
I would definitely support
Okay.
that. When-
As
Okay,
long as the engineer says it's
Right,
acceptable.
okay,
right.
okay. I think I've covered what I need to, and I did have a post-it note here. Okay, yep, I made sure I had some cheat sheet there and I covered it already, so.
I will open this up for public comment. Do we have people that would like to speak on this issue? Go ahead. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, leave that map up there. I think that's,
This one?
yeah,
Okay,
and I wrote that. Actually, why I'm here is what she just talked about. I'm sorry, it was your first thing again. What she was just talking about with the engineer, because that was the same concern that I had.
can you
Just-
introduce yourself to the
I'm
board?
Paul Kaufman, and I'm gonna show you where we own it set. Right here. I don't have a pointer here, but if you go down the street, you run right into our cottage. If you go down 304th Street, you run right into the cottage there. And that height, which is 8 inches, I think you should be aware of the fact that that not only takes the water off the street and, what runs down 304th Street, but it is also taking water from north of that. In fact, that pipe got put in. Because there's cottages up here.
So is your cottage the white there or which one?
Yeah, if you go right down for
Yeah,
Bank, that's
right
it,
there.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I was up in this area that they wanted this pipe put in. It's on Greg Schulte's, yeah. Are you related?
I'm just real.
I thought so. Yeah, I was talking to Greg.
I think it was initiated by this property owner.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I was just saying, so the water was coming down, so I mean, I guess I want you to be aware of the fact, and the engineer too, that it isn't just water that's gonna be coming down here, or, you know, comes down the road and comes down from that, but it's also from here, that it will also be
And
draining.
that was his concern, and he did, on the plat here, you can see that they did note those. But yeah, that 8-inch tube is a concern for our engineer.
And it should be, and as a result of that, I mean, one of the statements in your state, you know, what, that there'd be no anticipated negative impact. Well, my concern is if that's not satisfactory, then we're gonna get flooded out. And not just us, but it's gonna be other people that are gonna be on that side. So, I mean, that is a negative impact, if in fact that's, you know, true. The other thing I would say too is, if you were gonna enlarging that pipe, you know, you're gonna have erosion on the quarters property too, because there's that was down a steep hill. And as a result of that, that's good, I'm not, I don't know what the quarters attitude would be towards that either, but it, you know, absolutely goes over federal property. The other thing, and this is just kind of an aside, as kind of a person who likes the Mississippi and that, why is everything got to shoot right to the river all the time? That kind of disturbs me, but I know that's a little off the topic, but I just wanted to say that, you know, that shooting in the river is gonna be of oil and whatever's on driveways, and that's just gonna go down too, but I guess that's what we do here in Iowa, so. But that's primarily our concern. I'm glad you addressed it. Hopefully it will be determined one way or another, but I really feel that that is the result of the study of that's gonna be imperative in deciding whether you people decide to pursue this or, you know, we change the zoning or not. Right now, I don't know how you can do it without that information. And then that's pretty much all I have, unless you have a question of me, but that's. And in the past, there has been water that had ponded in that area before the pipe was repaired. Actually, my dad had put a pipe there years ago. And that was before the Corps was a little more picky, and it didn't bother them and whatever, because the water would cool up there on the road and it took it off. But then they approached Greg. So I thought it was.
Monica, the property owner's here.
Yeah, would you like to speak about that too?
Yeah, I'll do whatever. they
Or
want us to
if
do,
you're-
but,
Yeah,
As far as that, I mean, what, we gotta make it work, I gotta make it work, I agree, that I don't know that the court's gonna. I deal with them all the time, they're not that much fun to do.
But Justin didn't give an opportunity,
oh, yes,
to
I'm
present.
sorry, yeah, if you would like, I'm sorry, if you'd like to speak on the project that you're proposing, that'd be great too, if you would like to, or.
I guess I
If
don't,
you'd like to add anything to what Lori's presentation.
no, I think that was great.
Can I,
Yep.
may I,
Sure.
just because I've been fielding phone calls and neighbors' concerns. What type of restricted covenants about buildings, type of buildings? What, are you looking to put anything specific into place about what size building or type of structure that you're gonna allow? You know, some people do a size, a height or minimum or maximum.
I hadn't really thought about it, I'm gonna go along with whatever, I mean, your guys' regulations are.
Well, we can't set that because our zoning, we'll get to you. I know, this is why I'm asking, okay? Okay. So basically, we can't dictate it, but your covenants can. Because for us, it meets our R1 bulk regulations. It's been allotted for setbacks. And the maximum building height in R1 is 35 feet.
Sure.
So, but there can be things in your covenants if you were addressing, so that might be something. And I know you're gonna hear some of your neighbors speak to some of those concerns. But I was just wondering if maybe you already had something in place.
I
where
have
we
not,
could-
I'm just kind of, trying to go through the motions here, see how far we get,
Okay.
what's gonna happen, so.
Okay,
On that 8-inch pipe, if they had to replace that with a bigger pipe, how many feet are you talking in there? That would have to be.
they don't have any calculations for me, but it would probably be that whole pipe that's currently there.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
how many feet are we talking there? I'm just trying.
Let's look at that plat. It's,
It's just.
I don't have
So it
a,
comes down
yeah.
from it comes down from the top there. you
well,
said.
this is actually the 8-inch pipe,
Right, there's a 6-inch that comes to that.
right?
But the
And
8-inch starts right there at the
Right.
corner of 6.
let me, yeah, let me just pull it up this way. I can measure it
Okay,
faster
all
on this. So we're looking about
About-
320 feet roughly.
Okay, all right. Football field.
So yeah, that would be the distance that would encompass.
And they talk about going to a 15-inch culvert in this engineer's report.
The minimum standards for culverts for a driveway are 15 inches. So that's where
But
he
he
was,
questions whether that's enough. kind of way to
well,
pick up.
he's looking at that, since his question basically was if our standard for driveways is 15 inches, why would, what makes us think this 8-inch tube that's already in 8-inch pipe that's already in place would be enough? So there is concerns there. Well, that would be one of the things when they do their calculations. If that is not going to be adequate, they would require a bigger tube be put into place or bigger pipe before the final subdivision plat could be approved.
That really wouldn't be anything we have to say, say something, unless I guess we put that condition in there.
Right. That, the
We-
big,
we're
that
concerned
if
about
the engineer's office feels that the drainage is not adequate,
Okay,
that would have to be replaced as part of your conditions potentially.
Can I make a comment on the water? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna make sure that the chair would recognize you.
Yes,
Okay, am I recognized?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Bachman said about the water.
Sir, could you give the board your name, please?
James Glass, I
Okay.
live at 3446 400th Avenue.
Okay.
Okay, okay, that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Crystal River, Florida at this moment. Anyway, I just wanted to reiterate what he said about the water. That 8-inch line you speak of is blocked. And the 6-inch line was put in by a private party, and it's really not intended to drain more water than what's already on hand. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my internet connection here any minute, so I'm gonna sign off. Good luck.
Okay, great. We appreciate your
Thank you.
comments.
Did he say the 8-inch is blocked?
Yes.
Yeah,
they talk about that in this report.
in the report.
I missed that, sir.
Yes, great.
Oh, this is what, that was on our table. Yeah, okay, got it.
They also say here that the 8-inch culvert appears to be approximately 400 feet in length.
Okay.
So 300, and I think it was what, 321,
320-ish.
so it's, yeah.
He just puts approximately 400 feet in length.
Do you want to recognize anybody else?
Yeah, if there's anybody else that's online that would like to speak.
Mary Ann, I'm going to recognize you. Do you have anything that you would like to present to the board?
No, I have no comment. No,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, do you care to offer any support of this or not?
But,
No, we don't have no opposition to it, no.
yeah,
Okay.
we're not opposed to it.
Okay, and can you give me your full name, please?
Mary Ann Kutch,
Okay,
Kutsch.
thank you. Marianne Butch, Kutsch. And what's your address, Marianne?
30448 399th Avenue.
Okay, thank you. And I'll go ahead and mute you again, okay?
Okay,
All right. And can I go ahead and recognize these two?
Yes.
Okay, Cindy, I'm gonna go ahead and try to unmute you and see if you have any. Cindy, do you have any comments?
Nope, nope, I don't have anything, and I'm not
Okay.
opposed to anything either.
Okay, excellent. And Cindy, can you give us your address, please?
30507 396.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna put you on mute. And before we go to the next person, Monica, do you mind if I check this comment?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
all right. All right, so I have one that just says owner. I'm gonna go ahead and try to unmute owner if I can. Okay, so, okay, owner, did you have any comments?
I'm not used to a Zoom meeting. This is Julie Caranda. Tom and I are
Okay.
listening. And we just wondered what the comments were gonna be.
Okay.
Our address is 30425 399th Avenue. We're right across the street from Kevin and Mary Ann.
Okay,
And we are not opposed to anything with this or anything with Rollings. We're just concerned about the water because we're down at the bottom of the hill. And we were one of the people that helped financially with putting the private water line in to when Darren Berthel did that over to the river.
okay, that 6-inch drain pipe?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was just for the water. Darren, his property got flooded a few times, his home did. And since that was put in, that really helped. There's no tracer line. They were gonna put that in and they ended up not at the last minute. And so we know right where it's at. And each time they came out to do a survey, we told the guys where it was at. And the first couple times they did the survey, the people before them never added it. So hopefully it's all on the map right now.
And can you help me understand? What is it? You said a tracer line?
Yeah, it's like a line these guys probably know. It's a line that they put inside the tube so that when they go through and, so you know where your gas line goes and your water lines.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So they can locate it on the
Okay,
locator.
okay, got it.
Yes,
I just kinda
uh-huh.
heard it. Okay, I apologize. I learned
That,
something.
no, that's okay.
So, all right, Julie, if you're finished, I'll go ahead and mute you
Yeah,
if that's the chair. Do you approve?
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
we're fine.
thank you. And Nan, you had no comments? You good? Okay.
Okay, all right. Do we have any other comments? Yep, please.
My name is Rick Fleming, show man.
Sure.
I lived right there in that, where the arrow is right now.
Oh,
I've lived there since '93. I've lived up in that subdivision since '75. And I have to disagree with your person up here with flooding. We've had a lot of flooding down in the middle section of the Cheney subdivision down below on 399th, between 399th and 400th Avenue, or 400th Avenue, I'm sorry. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
And the gentleman before me, is right, the water comes from the north down, it floods. Yeah, this area right here, we had a bad flood about, I'd say 7, 8 years ago, where it flooded that whole bottom area. I tried to get our association to do something about it, but they're more important about fixing roads. But we do need a drainage system out there of some sort to take care of the water, because when you add more houses up here where he wants to develop his land, it's gonna cause more water to go down below. It's only obvious, if water goes downhill, so we need to take care of that problem, because that house right down from mine doesn't have a basement. And that house has been flooded at least 4 or 5 times. So we need to take care of that problem with water. So you can't just put the drain, you probably want to put the drain over here by the road. But if the water runs south, you've got to put it over here someplace to run it that way to the north. So I would appreciate it if that would be brought up by the engineers and stuff. As you know, Gary.
Yeah, it flows.
It's flooded. I'm not just sitting here telling you that, it's, you know. So it needs to be taken care of. Because I know since 75, it never used to flood down there, but then they put in Wagner subdivision that drains down there. And they've had more new houses go up in our section, it drains down there, so. There's a lot of water down there in the spring if we have an early thaw. So I hope that that is taken care of if this goes through. Thank you.
Thank you. May I just address some,
Yes.
just to show you guys how I came up with my, formulation. So I just turned on the floodplain layer. And this, it's on now. I'm gonna shut it off and so you can see the difference. So when I didn't address specific flooding from water flow, I was addressing the floodplain.
Right.
And this area is not within the floodplain. So that was what my,
Yeah.
oh, I understand, absolutely.
But since it started to flood,
Yeah, but from water
yeah,
flow, yeah, and
and so it has to be taken care of somehow.
right, and my presentation represented repairing and flooding and not the other part, but I just wanted to specify the difference real quick for you guys.
Well, then who's responsible? Because if there's flooding now and your association, you say won't take care of it.
Well, right now, the,
Are those all private roads? Is that?
It's all coming down
It's all
from that
private
field
roads.
right there.
Yeah.
And from the north. Is what I'm saying.
Sure, I get it, but I'm just trying, in my mind, I'm trying to think, well, who's ultimately responsible for?
it's a private road, and to the north, it's a private road and a private subdivision.
Those are all private
They're all
roads.
private roads.
Yes, I
The
believe
last,
it's
the
step,
last public road is what,
Great.
396th and 395th?
correct,
Yes,
And everything east of that is private
private.
yeah.
property and
And-
private roads.
And actually, let me just see who's left on the Zoom call. Okay, I do have 2 people, if they care to, if they have any comments, and we'll get that other one I saw. Okay, so Dressler subdivision, to answer you guys' question, is private.
Right.
And to my understanding, and anybody that's out there that lives in Dressler, it's private and there's currently, well, all the ordinances or covenants have expired. And there's, I don't believe any homeowner, no dues or anything paid to a homeowners association. Am I on the money here? Any of you girls out there that live in Dressler, Cindy? Or Mary Ann?
That's correct. There is no association.
Okay, and there's no road fees or anything like that, or infrastructure fees that you routinely pay?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So Dressler subdivision, is that one homeowners association, and then further south, is that a separate one, or is the whole, so there's 2 different associations out there.
I don't think the Drexler is a association.
So it's not an association.
Right, so
Are you-
that's what Mary Ann, that's what Mary Ann,
Okay.
Or
The ones to the south set up an association for the express purpose of trying to get those streets paved in there.
Okay,
Because they were all gravel.
Yes.
previously.
That might be Gary.
Finally got that to a point that everybody agreed that would go in, do paving.
okay,
Now,
Okay.
obviously, there's other issues beyond that.
What's that?
There's issues beyond just paving the road.
Well, yeah,
But
There's a
the
lot of things.
association wasn't necessarily set up specifically to do any, yeah,
that's right, but when you add 3 inches onto it, you raise the.
No, I
road,
agree.
you scale it up and
Yeah.
for-
I wouldn't argue that at all. I mean, there's issues down there with the drainage. But
and,
hopefully they can be dealt with too. I
Yeah.
mean, we would work with them
yeah,
if they need to put a new line across there. I mean, hell, we want to fix it up for
Yeah.
everybody. We don't want to.
right.
and just so you guys are aware, we're looking at 3 different subdivisions in that area.
That's
This is Dressler,
right.
and help me, just, this is Wagner,
Yeah,
and this is Wagner Cheney or Cheney. Correct? This over here on the east is Cheney.
yeah, that's.
Okay,
Jamie's
so
there.
that was, so Cheney was the older subdivision that probably came up shortly after Dressler.
Okay,
And Wagner's the newer subdivision, and, oh, what's the name of this one? I forget. But yeah, then that's another subdivision.
subdivision there.
So, yeah, so actually, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 different subdivisions in that area.
So this
And no one has,
plot that we're looking at now, will that be is that in a subdivision now, or will it be in a subdivision?
that's gonna be the Alden subdivision.
Another subdivision.
Yeah, there's 5
So
altogether.
it'll make 5.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. I
Yeah,
want to make sure.
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, like, I got some of the property owners in Dressler here, they don't have any covenants for snow removal, street repair, any of the above.
Everybody has to fend for themselves.
Pretty much.
But the other issue is too, the newer subdivisions all have fallen under the zoning rules and regulations, so they have to follow the setbacks and everything else. Dressler's was old enough that they don't.
Yeah, they got.
So, yeah, so they got grandfathered in, so you've got a lot of places, in Dressler's that do not follow and are very compact.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know. I drove over there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and keep in mind, the zoning was started in Jackson County in 1976.
was it 76 or 66?
It was 76.
Was it 76? Okay.
Yeah, it was 76.
Because we-
Yeah. So, yeah, so, basically the non-conforming lots in Dressler, and there's a lot of them up
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot of them.
They're like grandfathered in, and I believe some of these, because this was an older subdivision too, and Cheney the same way, some of those lots are not conforming, they're currently legally non-conforming. Yeah, and, if, you want, there's, another person on here that has
Yes,
not been
if they-
recognized.
If they would like to speak,
Okay, so Jay Clausen, I'm gonna go ahead and try to unmute you here. I might have to have you do it. Do you have any comments or questions? There you go.
I do not at this time, no, thanks.
I'm sorry, we just came in. We just heard you. I'm sorry. Can you state your name for us, please?
Sure, Jeff Clausen,
And your address, please?
that's 30459 400th Avenue.
Okay. Were you just gathering information, or do you have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Just gathering information.
Okay. All right. All right, unless you have anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you or put you back on mute unless Chair, do you have any?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have anybody else who would like to make any other comments? So board discussion. My concern is the piping, however, I am not opposed to approving the subdivision with the restriction that the engineer's office, they have the final say on the drainage.
Yeah,
But do they? Since it's on private property.
They do,
You're talking about
they do.
Everything's
the
private
county
property.
engineer? Or
Well,
the plats?
well, the plat engineer, but I would like to see the plat engineer work with the county engineer on the drainage.
Right, and there would be, there's restrictions in the subdivision ordinance about drainage
Yes.
meeting a certain
Yes.
capacity. And the more hills you had in there, the more,
With the
the
slopes.
more capacity that they're gonna need.
I think we had some of this issue. There was one down by Preston, I think we had to deal with. Then we had some of the same issues on it. I can't remember. Did we put restrictions on that?
No, but again, we left it up to the engineers to, we're not engineers
No.
here, but, I think it's appropriate to put in there that, approval with the stipulation that the drainage is worked out by the engineers.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think that's basically what we did down in Preston.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we
because
did. like that too.
there was a question about the drainage down there. Yeah.
Do I have any other discussion or do I have a motion?
The only thing that I was concerned about, and I think it's been taken care of, was what happens if the city water does not go there within this year?
Well, that would probably hold up construction of the new dwellings, because I know our zoning, or excuse me, our health administrator will not,
So we'll not.
Issue
Just so we
as
know that that's the case,
yeah, she will not
Put
issue
that
any
in there.
permits.
That's
Okay.
gotta be. There's gotta be city water there. before-
City water has to be available.
I would be in favor of that.
Okay, and
Does
so
it need to be
I
in the
mean,
motion?
the city says they're going to, but. Cities change
It's
their
more
minds and run out of money.
it's more of ECIA. It's really not coming from the city. It's grant money, from my
Yeah.
understanding, through ECIA and other, I think there's some FDA
But
funding
sometimes
out of that.
That money disappears.
That wouldn't necessarily have to be in our recommendation though, because she's not gonna grant the well permits anyway, I
No,
mean.
and I wouldn't issue a zoning permit
Right.
to allow them to build
That's fine, as
without
long as
available
that's taken care of.
water. I have had talks, I have talked to ECIA. The bid is supposed to go out in April. It's supposed to be approved in May. And then there's a few other little things, and they're hoping to break ground yet this year.
Sure.
So basically, I wouldn't feel too bad about issuing a zoning permit if they already started work from the south
Oh,
and
yeah.
are moving north. I would feel comfortable with that,
Okay,
because usually after they start putting holes in the ground,
It's going.
it's
yeah,
going in, it's forward motion. But then again, I wouldn't, as soon as they broke it, I'd probably give them a little bit of time to
Understand that.
show some movement. But yeah, so I would want to see some forward movement.
So I have a question. Who is responsible for that drainage pipe, the expense of it? Because if there's currently flooding without housing, who pays the cost of that?
yeah, and that's what I had asked earlier is ultimately, who's responsible?
Well,
Is
I
that
could,
the Justin over here?
it
then?
would probably be Justin, for the fact that we're not gonna, likely the engineer is not gonna approve it without a bigger drain tube.
Right, and
Unless
I
he
was
could-
just assuming that.
Yeah, and I don't think if you stood out there asking for donations, anyone's gonna throw money at you.
Well, yeah, but I mean, They've got a drainage, that's why I asked earlier, though, they've got a drainage problem already.
They do.
Right,
And so is it totally incumbent on him to fix their problem?
I don't know the answer for that, but I guess, yeah, but at the same time, would I see it going forward without, you know, if the engineer says, no, you definitely don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
I,
did, I've been talking to Dan too, and he seems to think that's the only sticking point is that.
Okay.
So if we were to go ahead and recommend this with the stipulation that the engineering is worked out for the drainage, you don't necessarily have a problem with that. No. Okay, you'll work it out and because like I said, I don't want to make it, you know, incumbent on you to, you know, if there's some of the problem that's already existing. Right. But if you're saying it's okay, I'm gonna make a motion.
I have one comment. Is that gonna help you people?
It depends on where you put the drain at.
Maybe you could have a little input into that.
What's that?
I said, maybe you could have a little input.
Well, I can talk to our association.
Yeah.
And see what they say.
I think that'd be a good idea.
But I don't think if you put the drain on the north side of his property, it's gonna help us.
Okay.
And, well,
That's what I'm just saying.
but at the same time, shouldn't we leave that up to our county engineer?
yeah, that's, again, we're not engineers here.
Right,
We're trying to move the process along and hopefully the engineers will be able to solve the problem because that's supposedly what they do.
Right.
So with that being said, I would move to go ahead and recommend this subdivision with a stipulation that the engineering on the drainage is worked out.
Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried.
so move to approve to the issues with the drainage, how did you say that?
That the engineers resolve the issues with the drainage.
County and property engineers.
Sure, I said that, I'm sure.
I know you did. That's what we're talking about.
Engineers, plural.
Where,
Engineers plural, right? That's what I said.
WHKS and our Jackson County engineer.
Okay,
there you go.
That was the intent, yes. Hopefully that resolves the whole.
Yeah.
thing.
Help everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you clarified a lot. with that,
Yes.
So thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And we can go on to the next case, the ZC 2305.
So where do you look?
that was, you already covered that.
Oh, that we did, didn't we? Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and let's get down to maybe some other business.
What was the
You can have a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's on our, that's that. And then I'm gonna get to,
When will be the next meeting be on the cover?
what covenants? That'll be something for him. There won't be a meeting on the
Okay, you'll
covenants.
let us know that.
There's no meeting. I suppose if I had the covenants after they're in place and you requested them, I would have
Yeah.
to send them to you.
I will.
Okay, okay. And I
Right.
bet Justin might even too, if you ask.
Yeah, now, what we will make us clear is this is a recommendation to the supervisors. So it will go in front of the supervisors yet if you want to attend that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, and you'll hang on for a few minutes. After this, I'd like to just visit with you. All right, just to let you know the next steps and the timeline, okay?
Yep.
All right, that was still Ryan's, so we already did that. Let me just go back up to the agenda. Right there. Oh, the agenda's the first one. Thank you.
Where we're going, you're gonna need a bigger notebook by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I know.
No, I'm like,
Well, at least you're not the Board of Adjustment. They have 5 next month,
Anyway,
unless more comes in.
well,
So anyway, we, We will be, okay, I'd let you guys know that they are studying wind energy for our county.
Oh, okay. Here, this,
Okay, they are studying wind energy for our county. It's gonna be at the bottom.
when you say they, who do you?
They, Next Era Energy.
Okay,
They have a Met Tower up right now, about 3/4 miles into Jackson County from the south. About 1.25 or 1.75 west of Highway 67. And about almost 2 miles south of Highway 64. So it's out in the boonies, right? So that's their Met Tower. So they're gathering data right now. So their first thought was they were gonna do it all in Clinton County.
right.
But due to some natural resource issues, like certain types of birds, raptors in a certain area that are high concentration, they started looking into Jackson County also. So right now, and I wish I would have had my email with
So,
it now.
so how big of a project are you talking?
They're looking at, what was it, 80 turbines in between the two counties,
Okay,
which only about a fourth in our county.
okay,
So that's kind of what they're geared toward right now. We don't have any ordinances. So that's something
Yeah.
we're gonna wanna talk about what direction we're heading. The Board of Supervisors is ready to start getting some things in place.
Okay.
It probably wouldn't be till May that I'd be able to even start thinking about presenting that.
so you said this is next gen,
Next era,
next era?
Next
Okay, because
era.
there's the next gen.
or, yeah, it's next era. So, we had a meeting with them, so each supervisor met with representatives of their company individually, so it wasn't a group meeting or part of a formal open session. So they have met with them, one-on-one. We're just in the information gathering stage right now for the county. Same with Next Era Energy, they're in the information gathering phases also. And the area in Jackson County basically extends east of Highway 67 all the way to about 4 miles east of Macokota, and it's only 3 miles high. So about 3 miles.
But just again, say, okay, you just changed it.
Yeah,
Did I? Okay, so west of Highway 67.
okay, so west of, like you said,
Yeah,
east,
oh, I apologize. Let's
west,
get that straight.
Can't go much,
Can't go much.
Along the river. You
Yeah.
can't go further.
yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, pretty much. Here,
West
I'm,
of 67. Well, I imagine it going north and south. You're saying it's gonna go east and west.
it'll go east and west because the band is only 2 miles or 3 miles wide.
3 miles wide, so it's gonna be,
It'll hit your property.
yeah, I was gonna say. it's
In
gonna
that
go close.
study area. Yes, that study area would hit your area. Let me just get down to that northern or that southern fringe of our county.
It goes about as deep as Jaden's, Tom.
Did you hear her?
No, what she
It went
said?
about as deep as Jaden's,
Oh, really? That deep? Wow.
about 3 miles. So basically from about 3 miles up,
Yeah,
and then from basically this location to about here, you think about, that's right, about right in, you can see that on your phone. But yeah, so 3 miles up.
I can't see your screen.
Oh, I sent you a text to see if my screen share was working. So I guess not.
so,
I'm on a phone, so it might be different.
Okay. So basically they're studying wind energy from
sure,
that area.
they're studying it in that area.
Study.
Okay. Have they partnered with anybody yet as far as who would be taking the energy?
I don't believe they gave us that yet.
They didn't mention that to you, Ian?
No, they didn't.
Okay,
I will ask that in our next session if we meet
Yeah,
again,
'cause-
though.
because some, ultimately, they've got to partner with somebody who's gonna be a transmission, generation and transmission company.
I don't have my email on this computer, but they did show the transmission lines that were in the that they be connecting to. So basically the one that runs,
So I was wondering if it was Citgo or if it was Alliant. That's what
the one that runs this way, it comes east of Springbrook, you know where we live,
I don't know where you
about
live
2 miles
exactly,
east of the
but,
brook.
but if
but
it's
It's a
a,
transmission line that comes down like this area,
okay,
diagonal from
I think that might be.
Springbrook.
But I'm not real well versed on, where all the lines are either.
Okay. But, it's in the works and I've been
Cause that could be going from the Springbrook sub down to the, Van
in,
Buren.
well, it would be going, I think there's a hub or whatever they call it down here, close to Andover.
Then that's gotta be Alliant.
Okay. And I don't
Well,
know,
it could be Citgo, it could be Citgo.
but so. They said the technology has changed.
I may recuse myself from this one because I'm having heartburn. We've got ground still in Boone County. They just put up 76 windmills between highway Stratford to Boone.
I am greatly alarmed.
It's like it's 9 miles. And they put 76 windmills up. One of them sits on my father-in-law's property.
Okay.
The company offered landowners $2,000 a year only for, well, this is for that disturb their views.
Okay.
Got some friends that built a new house 5 years ago. And they have a windmill that they constantly see move in their
Yeah,
window,
and
through their window, and I
You don't necessarily have to recuse yourself because I might have to, because it's gonna be right in my area. And this is alarming. I haven't heard anything about this and there's some real issues involved.
Okay. And
yeah,
I'm still connected to that assessor world.
yeah.
So I have reached out to a few of my assessor friends that I know have wind energy in their area. Because some of the material that they sent out about market values, I don't doubt what they're saying, but I wanted to see sales ratios. So for example, like the median sales ratio says 85% countywide. But the areas that were within 2 miles of turbines, is that median sales ratio different? Is that median sales ratio running 99%, which is telling me that maybe those are affecting market values in that area?
Check Boone and Hamilton County. If you know those assessors, check.
You said Boone and Hamilton?
Boone and Hamilton
Okay.
County, yeah.
Yep,
Because they go from Hamilton County into Boone County.
okay,
I know Story County has got some over in Nevada. They've had those for a long time.
because I've reached out to Guthrie, Poweshiek, Iowa, Delaware. Those are the ones I've reached out to,
Okay.
and Guthrie has like 400 towers in their county.
Story's got a lot and they've had them for a number of years.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, and I've also
So-
gotten the values
So
of
this
them.
this next era energy is saying that the technology has changed enough to make our area
Feasible.
feasible because it wasn't not too many years ago.
Yeah.
Right, so they're saying our area is feasible.
Well,
They're still studying.
They're doing a study
They're
on
still
it
studying,
to see if it's
Yeah.
feasible.
right, they're still studying. So anyway, I have reached out and right now the assessors are so busy.
Yeah,
And
oh,
I acknowledged that when my initial email to them, letting them know that it's like, hey, I know what you got going on, so maybe sometime after April. Even though the one girl's like, it's so rural that we have very little rural res out there to formulate good sales ratios in that area. So it's a little,
there's quite a few homes, and a lot of farmhouses in that stretch. It's on E17, or not E17, what is that? It's
you're talking in Story or
and
Boone?
this is in Boone to Hamilton County,
Okay.
Highway 175 to what's 22nd Street?
How long have they been there, Monica?
They just went up.
Okay, there won't be any good
there
market
There
studies.
won't be any good market studies on those right
No.
now.
And just so you know, farm dwellings won't be part of a market study.
Right,
because
no.
it's tied in with the ag
Right,
land.
exactly, but there's, over by Nevada, they have been there for a number of years, they go south of Highway 30. And I know there are homes that way, because I think they go towards Maxwell, if I remember right, so there are some there, not as many as what there are here.
Okay,
Because the land obviously is flatter and the farms are bigger than what
Right.
they are here.
right.
And then the other one is, there's some up Mason City. What county is Mason City in?
Saragordo.
Yeah, Cerro Gordo.
Yep.
And they've had theirs for a number of years
Yep.
too.
I'm trying to remember if I reached out to her or not. Yeah, I don't think I did.
What kind of timeline are they talking here? How long is the study going on before they make a decision?
It's been going on, oh, that's the other case. I was trying to remember who our other case was for Board of Adjustment. It's been going on for almost a year.
It's already been going on for a year,
Yeah.
Wow.
and I hadn't heard about it.
Well, there's a little story behind that. They had some previous people that worked for them, and they read through our ordinance and didn't see where they needed a permit. And so there's a Met Tower that got put up without a permit. So if we would have known about it,
We'd have had.
we would have had a little heads up what was going on. But when their new district representative, for lack of a better word, started here, he contacted me, I'm trying to remember, early January.
Is it a temporary tower?
It's temporary, yes, it is temporary. And when it's gone, it's basically on a pivot,
Yeah,
and it's held up by guy wires. So that's,
so
Oh,
they just
yes.
got the one in place now for this assessment.
to the best of my knowledge, there's only one in our county.
Okay.
Yep, only one in our county.
So, but anyway, it's been going on for a while, you say. Did they give any indication of when they're gonna be finishing up their study? so they
About 2
can-
years.
About 2 years, so
Yeah,
about
year
2
and a half,
years
maybe.
from now or a year from now, because they've been at it a year,
I believe they're still looking at 18 months to 2 years from now.
before they make a decision.
Before, yeah. Although they have already been in contact with different landowners that are interested in participating.
Okay.
I don't know if there are all in our county or some in our county or none in our county, but in between the Clinton, Jackson County as a whole.
Nan, are you still on?
Yes,
Had you heard about this before you heard it through the supervisor?
no,
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, I brought it to their attention.
Yeah, okay, well,
Yeah.
because I haven't heard any buzz about it. I didn't hear any buzz about it from the co-op.
Okay,
And
Right.
so that's just, it's just a little surprising to me that,
yeah.
it's kind of blindsided.
I sent them an email, like right after I found out that there was a Met Tower, and let them know. I think that was early January, man. I'd have to look, but, so yeah, I brought them in the loop as fast as I could.
right. Even Doug from down in the co-op did, he hadn't heard anything about it either.
Yeah, so there hasn't been any buzz about it, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this tower visible?
Pretty rural.
It's real rural. It's, you can't see it from 67. You can't see it from Highway 64. And plus,
And you'd really have to know what it is to,
yeah, it's
Whose property did it go up on?
Well, if I'd seen it, I
Jefferson
would
property.
know. But I just-
Jefferson.
I just haven't-
Jefferson?
Jefferson?
Which Jefferson?
Oops. Okay, there we go. Let me see if I can find it. I need to orient with Highway 64.
There's 64 right there.
Yeah, I know I'm south and it is close to Larry's. Hang on, I think we're right down here.
You know the names were better than I do, Senator. There are Jetson's Farms.
Farms, is that it?
Yeah, it's right here. I'm pretty confident.
Right there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
keep clicking on that. It's not mean to do that. Sorry, guys.
Anyway, you have
Oh,
that
I do.
drainage with those.
So I think
Ton
it's,
of money for him. He had one up on our property.
So he is getting paid well.
Oh, yeah,
oh
And then
yeah,
you gotta look at him.
that's the problem.
Like how, like what do you call a ton of money?
30 grand a year.
Okay.
and I saw, is that just one tower
That's just one tower.
on 1 acre?
Yeah, but see, the problem is
But you
that the
get,
people that have the tower on their land get paid, and the person who lives across the road doesn't get paid, and they have to look at it.
no, they're getting paid like 2 grand a year, that's it.
Yeah, but
To look at it.
yeah.
That
You
kind
know.
of happens with hog buildings too, though.
You get to smell those too.
Well,
The guys at the hog buildings make a lot of money, but the guy who lives up the road just has a smell.
Yeah, no, I got a hog
I mean,
building down.
you can't fault the guy that's making 30 grand.
No, you can't.
No,
but I'm just,
I'm not.
you know, I understand that.
Trust me, I'm
I
not.
understand
Because I'm gonna end up inheriting that ground. So, but when I was shocked, because, so you're going 18 miles and 18 miles between Highway 175 and 22nd Street in Boone, there's 76 towers. 76 towers.
How many square miles?
Between, I don't know how many square miles, but from 175 to 22nd Street, it is, let's see. they
that.
went
I'm not sure
on-
when they would-
It's about 18 miles total.
She has
Okay.
to, when we drive through a windmill field, she has to close her eyes when we're.
I mean,
It's disorienting.
yeah, I mean, I had a friend tell me, she said, you ought to see it, and Jamie was out at his dad's, must have been 3 weeks ago, and he said, you should see them. He said,
Well-
it has really destroyed the view.
Yeah, well, and from a generation aspect, all of the above is good. Solar, wind, coal, nuclear. People want to keep their lights on. We got to produce electricity. And so that's why we talk about all of the above, but personally, I thought that solar or that the wind wouldn't get over here into eastern Iowa. I was hoping to see solar,
Yeah,
to tell you the truth.
Oh,
Because that's, I think the solar is much more the future than the wind.
I can tolerate solar better than I can the wind generation, because the solar is not as obtrusive,
Right.
it's not as tall.
right.
It can be hidden.
Yeah.
And, if it's gonna go up in a home, typically, they'll go on a roof, or there'll be a short panel.
Right.
And I'm more apt to look at something like that,
And that's different than utility scale.
right?
Because we're
Right.
talking utility
Well,
scale.
look at Dubuque, when you go to Dubuque, the solar field up there.
There's a couple of them,
And
yeah.
there's a couple of them, but it's not as obtrusive
Yeah.
as what, how tall are they, 90 feet? I don't know how tall they are,
They're not as obtrusive, but kind of like what Mike was referring to with the hog building. If you're the neighbor next to it,
yeah,
they're an eyesore as well.
Oh, yeah.
But again, we have to keep in mind that we expect our lights to be on when we flip the switch.
Right.
And so, it's all part of the mix. I'm just surprised. It took me a little bit back that I hadn't heard anything about this at all so far.
Yeah.
But now I have, so I'll ask the
Yeah.
question.
And I don't think it was intent to hide anything from anybody. I really,
Oh, you
seriously,
keep that giddy optimism.
I know, rose colored glasses. But at the same time, yeah, when this guy kind of backpedaled pretty hard when he first reached out to us.
Yeah,
Realizing he wasn't in compliance. So, yeah,
So
Well-
what happens now if he's not in compliance?
they're gonna present it to the Board of Adjustment for a special exception. A special exception use for communications tower. Because we're able to call that a communications tower, because basically it's transmitting data.
yeah.
It's not as big or, you know, as sturdy or thick, permanent as a cell tower, but we're gonna be able to call that a communications tower.
Well, and what we gotta keep in mind here is they're doing a study now. That doesn't mean that it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be feasible.
Sure,
You know, we gotta see you know, from what I'm learning is, you know, the technology is advancing, but they're pushing all, you know, full force ahead on the solar. And so that's why it took me, you know, by surprise a little bit that, you know, we're talking wind.
yeah,
So
and, you know, there's pushback on both,
push back and vote, absolutely.
yeah.
I
'cause-
thought we'd be dealing with solar before we were
Yeah.
dealing with wind.
And, you know, some of the people are like, yeah, solar's good. I mean, I'm all about it for personal use. But when you start solar farms, you've taken all those acres out of production.
I'm torn back and forth because I'm not sure the cost benefit of putting solar in is worth it because of the cost of the panels to go in. And so, yes, it saves your electric, but you know, you've got, you know, a 15-year loan on the solar panels, and guess what? Typically, they're, you know, a 15 to 20-year life or less in some cases. So then you're turning around and shelling out just as much money as if you would for your electric bill
Yeah,
to pay for the solar panels.
yeah, and they're saying those have gotten better too.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, they're
longer
still,
yeah.
but they've also gone up in price.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And, I'm on the conservation board.
Yeah.
And we have panels out at the Hurstville Interpretive Center.
Yep.
And if you guys ever need data on what capacity those are generating, I mean, just small, and it's only for
right.
the Hurstville
yeah.
Interpretive Center, but what it's done for that electric bill is like,
But
and
what was the cost to put those in?
I don't have that number in front of me.
And see that,
Yeah.
I mean, that, you know,
Well,
so.
yeah.
Well, you got a grant to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
So,
And technically, and that's, and we can talk the pros and cons of, you know, renewables, you know, all night long as far as that goes, but right now, the truth is, you know, without the grants, you know,
they're not.
they're not feasible. And, you know, and so you're talking industrial side for both solar and wind to really, you know,
Yeah.
but it, you know.
Right.
You know, well, let's not go there tonight.
Yeah, but just so you guys know, it's on the horizon potentially,
Oh, yeah.
so now's the time to act instead of getting caught like, say, Iowa County. You have wind turbines being built
Well-
because they didn't have any ordinances, they haven't zoning about either, so.
Have they given any indication in the year's study what is going to I mean, like, is the year even giving them any data right now?
That we
That
we didn't even
wasn't-
ask that question at those meetings, what their study was indicating so far. But,
I did, and they really didn't have any data to go with yet.
Okay, well, then,
I mean,
now,
they wouldn't reveal any data, let's put it
That's
that
what I
way.
was gonna say, they got it, they just don't wanna tell us.
so.
Yeah,
From a strictly zoning aspect, now that the shock is off of the fact that they're thinking about this, you know, I've been thinking about solar for quite a bit about, you know, what we should do and, you know, how that affects zoning. We've talked about.
industrial or
Yeah.
personally, is industrial
Yeah.
or commercial.
For both.
We need to look at both.
And so from strictly zoning and not the fact that I might have one in my backyard, which, you know, is another story.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause there's
what
all
are
kinds of-
the issues that we need to address from a zoning for Jackson County
Okay.
aspect? What, you know, what are our concerns?
Okay,
You know, visibility, obviously, is one,
Setback. of course.
setbacks.
There's some good ordinances out there. We
Yeah.
won't have to reinvent the wheel, I can
No,
promise you.
no.
They had some real issues over at Central City
Yes,
about solar and a lot of people were opposed to it because it takes up so much
Farm ground.
farm ground.
Yeah.
Good farm.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
That would
You know,
be
it-
my-
Are you talking about the Coggin one?
yeah.
Yes, yeah, Coggin was a nightmare. It's gonna go through.
You know, and the issue is owners' land use rights,
Right,
you know, versus whether, you know, versus the zoning, and it's, and the, that's the.
yeah,
you know,
that's the rub,
That's
that's the rub.
that's the rub.
Yeah, you don't, I mean, I don't want to infringe on landowners' rights, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, I value that.
Yeah.
But there are some concerns, like, you know, like we talked about setbacks and, you know,
Yeah, it'll be how far from the nearest dwelling, how
Right.
far from a road could our county impose so far back from a state highway?
yeah, how about, and I've heard,
Yeah,
I've heard with the windmills that, there is a sound component to it. And so we need to think about, you know, that as far as the zoning goes, is, you know, what kind of sound tolerances we're talking about. Because, you know, somebody who was, you know, I was watching a YouTube thing on somebody who had one that it was quite a ways away and you could hear it, you
Yeah.
know, and so that's a concern, noise pollution, I guess you.
yeah,
and
exactly.
that's part of a lot of ordinance, how many decibels at certain distances are
Right.
tolerate, you know, what will you tolerate?
Right,
Yeah, because that's one of the things that Jamie said in front, so on the east side of my father-in-law's house, you could not hear it. But as soon as you went past the house and the buildings, you could hear it quite well.
Okay.
And so
Like hear it to where I can hear it or hear it to where, oh my,
Jamie's hearing isn't very good and neither is my father-in-law's, and they could both hear it.
okay.
That's
So that I thought that was kind of loud.
yeah.
If they have a life expectancy of 15, 20, what happens with?
Actually, they're looking at 30 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's gotta be 30.
Windmills are.
And
are
their
30.
contracts with their landowners are gonna be for 30 years, even though the talk is replacing about 25 and then renegotiating any land contracts. There's also a decommissioning component that's part of it. And they're also saying that the parts now, the blades and other components are more recyclable than,
That's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second, they're more recyclable.
Yeah.
but there's supposed to be, I don't remember. if
Well,
they gave us a
that's in
percentage.
opposition to the original ones were really not recyclable at all. And so they're making attempts to make them more recyclable, but they're still not, to say they're recyclable is not true. I mean, it's, you know,
I think I read something to where a lot of the blades, they're fiberglass.
Yeah.
And they're shredded down to become part of roads.
it
that they
can be
can-
done, yeah.
That's one of the.
That is what they mentioned even.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, but just, I wanted to get it on your radar, that it's,
thank you.
yeah. Because it's like, you think I got punched you or something.
Well,
Almost, huh?
It's a surprise for me, yeah.
Yeah, wow. I'm just, you know, it isn't like it was trying to be kept a secret. I mean, I've talked to friends about it and, you know, just. We talk about a lot in our office and different things, but,
Sure.
it still uses grease and oil to
Oh, yeah.
keep the motor running, because it's still,
Well, yeah, you gotta, you know,
you
you gotta actually power
Yeah,
a windmill. I mean,
Yeah.
you think that's, you know, misnomer, but yeah,
yeah, but
you
yeah,
have
they
to
got
have power
motors
going in there to
in order.
produce power.
and yeah, they talk about the maintenance and they talk about the labor force
Yeah,
that use, and it'd be local labor.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're supposed to have a good call record, which this company, one of the things too, when I'm researching for assessors, is find out, try to get their zoning people and see, well, they might even know who the wind companies are, and then find out what their track record is in those counties.
so NextEra, are they just simply a research company that's gonna pass this off, or are they the company that's gonna be doing it?
The only company that's gonna be doing it.
Okay,
Haven't you ever seen it on those towers? You can see towers, you can see NextEra on the head of them.
yeah.
That's the only thing I can remember ever seeing is NextEra.
I think I've seen Sylvania. Or GE,
They're one, yeah.
but those are probably the makers of the turbine and not the company that's doing the work. But anyway, it's on our radar. And don't look for anything from me next month.
No,
It'll be leaning towards May. And then the other, we got projects everywhere. Remember that beautiful Leisure Lake property or that project I kind of mentioned to you guys? Well, I had big dreams of doing that all in one swift movement, you know, send out 50 notices through. Send out 50 notices all at once. We're not even halfway through. We got 50 violations. So we're gonna be breaking them down in a little more bite-sized components.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, lofty goals here. And like you said, Tom, that, you know, kind of rose-colored glasses here.
Giddy optimism.
Giddy optimism. That's me through and through.
I'm bringing it back down. I'm like,
Yeah, they tie ropes on my ankles and pull me back down to reality. But anyway, any other questions or anything for our office?
no,
Did you want to update the board a little bit about tomorrow's meeting, board meeting?
Tomorrow,
I don't know, if you don't want to address that.
we have the 2 ordinances for last month's meeting going towards the board of
would you like
supervisors.
me there in the morning?
Uh,
Yeah, I was
that-
be there.
That's up to
Okay,
you.
let me
It's
check
open to the
mine.
public. The Les and the McCulleys are
I
going,
heard that on the radio today that they were gonna be addressing that.
yeah, those are both the ordinances that are looking to approve the rezonings or not.
I'm going, I'm ordering.
It was 7-0 or 6-0 or whatever it was. I hate to see it.
Wait a minute. wait.
Yeah, you had 7 members here last month. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I know,
I can be there until, I can go 9 to about a little after 10, because I got a meeting at 10:30 I have to be at.
Yeah, I can't be there, I know that. Are you?
So-
going?
And
John
that's,
said he'd be there.
that's quite up to you guys. I mean, you know, it's like I said, it's a public meeting
You know
Midland
when that-
won't be on the agenda,
early.
do you know? Will it be early?
it's 9 and 9.
Okay,
I'm gonna try to open up.
I
my
think they are.
Because Velez is at 9:10.
okay.
Yeah,
okay,
I think they're right away the first thing.
Okay,
Yeah, I think McCully's at 9, Velez is at 9:10.
okay, I got a production meeting that should only, at 8:30, that should only take about 10 minutes, and I can come over to the courthouse. And then, as long as I'm out by 10:10, I should be okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I can
your
do that.
right. Like I said, it's a public. meeting.
No, I can do that, I can do that.
Okay.
You ready to call this?
I'll make most of the adjourn.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah, no, I'm good.
So,
Next meeting.
Yeah, well, next meeting is the
We have a next meeting in.
We will have a meeting in April. It'll,
17th.
yes, ma'am.
At 7.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which one that is.
I
I know.
I know.
It's a rezoning of the former Welcome Center, the
Oh,
Jackson
yeah.
County home there by Sevilla.
All right,
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
do I have a second?
yes.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
I thought I missed it. I was like, did I miss it?
No, you did.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you're going to.
You know, George, even folks.
Yes.
Yeah, if you could, and then I'll just continue putting the
Right.
packets in them and you can, if you want to ever check them out, take them home or whatever you can, look through some.
Just go.